What do you do when you're standing in front of something impossible? A river too deep to cross, a future too uncertain to step into, a promise that feels just out of reach. The Israelites faced that exact moment. After 40 years in the wilderness, after struggle, waiting, and wandering, they finally stood on the edge of the promised land. But one final obstacle stood in their way: the Jordan River. Overflowing its banks, wild, uncrossable, no bridge, no boats, no plan, but they had something greater. They had God. And what happened next would prove one powerful truth: when God leads you forward, he always makes a way. Section 1: Standing at the Edge of Promise. The Israelites had come a long way, from slavery in Egypt to miracles in the wilderness, to now standing on the edge of destiny. Their new leader, Joshua, had taken the place of Moses. The weight on his shoulders was enormous. Leading a nation is one thing, but leading them into the unknown, that requires faith. In front of them was the Jordan River, not calm, not shallow, but overflowing. This wasn't just a river, it was a test. Would they trust God one more time? God spoke to Joshua with clear instructions. Tell the priests to carry the Ark of the Covenant and step into the water. Not after the river parts, but before. Faith would come first. The miracle would follow. This was different from the Red Sea. Back then the water parted before they moved. Now God was asking for bold faith. Step in first. Trust first. Move first. Imagine the tension in the crowd. What if nothing happens? What if we drown? But faith is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. Section 2: The Step of Faith. The moment had come. The priests carrying the ark began walking toward the raging river. Step by step, closer and closer, the water roared louder with every step. The people watched in silence. No sign yet. No miracle yet, just obedience. Then it happened. The moment their feet touched the water, the river stopped. Upstream, the water began piling up like a wall. Downstream, the riverbed dried instantly. God had made a way. But notice this: the miracle didn't happen until they moved. Faith activated the power of God, and suddenly, what was once impossible became a pathway. Dry ground appeared where there was once chaos. God didn't just make a way, he made it firm, stable, and secure. That's the kind of God we serve. Section 3: Walking through the miracle. Now came the next step: walking through the miracle. Thousands of Israelites began crossing the riverbed. Families, children, elders, all stepping into what used to be impossible. The priests stood in the middle, holding the ark steady. They didn't move. They stayed until everyone had crossed. This wasn't rushed. This wasn't chaotic. It was orderly, peaceful, powerful. Each step forward was a reminder: God is faithful. Imagine the feeling under their feet: dry ground where there should have been mud, safety where there should have been danger. This wasn't luck. This wasn't coincidence. This was God. And sometimes the biggest miracles aren't just in the moment, but in the journey through them. Every step they took erased fear and replaced it with faith. Section 4: Remember the miracle. Once everyone had crossed, God gave Joshua another command. Take 12 stones from the riverbed, one for each tribe of Israel. Why? So they would never forget. These stones would become a memorial, a reminder for future generations. When children would ask, "What do these stones mean?" they would answer, "This is where God made a way." Because forgetting what God has done weakens your faith for what he will do. God didn't just want them to experience the miracle, he wanted them to remember it. And maybe that's a message for us today. How many times has God brought you through something? How many rivers has he already parted in your life? Don't forget, because the same God who did it before can do it again. Section 5: Stepping into the Promise. Finally, the moment arrived. The priests stepped out of the river, and as soon as they did, the waters returned. The river flowed again like nothing had happened, but everything had changed. The Israelites were now in the Promised Land. Not because they were strong, not because they had a plan, but because they trusted God. This crossing wasn't just about a river. It was about transition, from wandering to purpose, from waiting to fulfillment, from fear to faith. And here's the truth: God still leads people through Jordan rivers today. Moments where you must step forward, even when it doesn't make sense. Moments where fear says stop, but faith says go. And when you step out in obedience, God will always meet you there. The story of the Jordan River is more than history, it's a message. A reminder that God is still making ways where there are none. So whatever river you're facing today, fear, doubt, uncertainty, don't wait for the waters to part first. Step forward in faith. Because your miracle might be waiting on your obedience. God is calling you forward. Will you trust Him?